The year was 628 CE, and the winds of change swept across the Arabian Peninsula. After years of persecution and exile, the Muslims of Medina, led by the Prophet Muhammad, had secured a fragile peace with their Meccan enemies through the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. But danger still lurked in the desert. To the north, the formidable Jewish stronghold of Khaybar, a cluster of fortresses surrounded by palm groves and farmland, stood as a beacon of resistance. Its warriors had long harassed Muslim caravans and even allied with the Quraysh of Mecca during the Battle of the Trench. Now, with rumors of new alliances forming against Medina, the time had come to confront this threat. With 1,600 warriors at his back, the Prophet marched toward Khaybar. Awaiting them was a force of 10,000 well-armed Jews, entrenched behind towering walls and stocked with years of supplies. The Muslims were outnumbered, but they carried something greater than numbers: unshakable faith and a destiny they believed was written in the stars. This is the story of the Battle of Khaybar, a siege that would test the limits of courage, strategy, and divine will. Chapter 1. The march to war. The journey to Khaybar was grueling. The desert sun scorched the earth, and the Muslim army, though small, moved with purpose. Among them were legendary warriors: Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Lion of Allah; Umar ibn al-Khattab, the stern disciplinarian; and Khalid ibn al-Walid, the newly converted Sword of God. As they neared Khaybar, the sight of the fortress sent a ripple of unease through the ranks. 7 massive forts, each protected by deep trenches and iron gates, loomed over the landscape. The strongest, Al-Khamis, was said to be impregnable. The Jews of Khaybar, led by the warrior Marhab, mocked the approaching Muslims. "Muhammad thinks he can take Khaybar with this handful of men," they sneered. "Let him try. We will bury him in these sands." But the Prophet remained calm. "Tomorrow," he said, "I will give the banner to a man who loves Allah and his messenger, and whom Allah and his messenger love. Allah will grant us victory through him." The army waited in suspense. Who would he choose? Chapter 2. The lions charged at dawn. The Prophet called for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali, though suffering from severe eye pain, stood before him. The Prophet wiped his eyes with his own saliva, a blessing, and handed him the black banner. "Fight until they bear witness to the oneness of Allah," the Prophet instructed. Ali advanced toward Al-Khamis, where Marhab awaited him, clad in gleaming armor and wielding a legendary double-edged sword. The two titans clashed. "I am Marhab," the Jewish champion roared. "My sword drinks the blood of warriors." Ali responded with the thunder of faith, "I am Ali, son of Abu Talib. By Allah, your sword will not taste my blood, but mine will taste yours." Their blades met in a flash of steel. With one mighty stroke, Ali split Marhab's skull, sending the giant crashing to the ground. A gasp erupted from the fortress walls. Their champion was dead. Seizing the moment, the Muslims surged forward, scaling the walls under a hail of arrows. The gates of Al-Khamis fell, and the first fortress was taken. But Khaybar was not yet conquered. Chapter 3. The siege and the miracle. The remaining forts resisted fiercely. Days turned into weeks. Supplies dwindled, and morale wavered. Then, a miracle unfolded. A Jewish woman, Zainab bint al-Harith, seeking revenge for her slain kin, offered the Prophet a poisoned lamb. He took a single bite before divine warning stopped him. Another companion, Bishr ibn al-Bara, ate more and later died, but the Prophet survived, declaring, "This bone tells me it is poisoned." Despite the treachery, the Muslims pressed on. One by one, the forts fell, some through battle, others through negotiation. The Jews, seeing their defenses crumble, finally sought terms. The Prophet granted them peace on one condition: they would leave Khaybar, but could remain as farmers, paying half their harvest to the Muslims. It was a mercy few conquerors had ever shown. Epilogue. The legacy of Khaybar. The fall of Khaybar marked a turning point in Islamic history. The Muslims, once a persecuted minority, were now a power to be reckoned with. The victory secured vital resources for Medina and sent a clear message: no fortress, no matter how strong, could stand against the will of Allah. Yet the greatest lesson was in the mercy shown afterward. The Jews of Khaybar were allowed to stay, a testament to the Prophet's justice. As for Ali, his heroism that day became legend. The man who had entered Khaybar with an eye swollen shut emerged as the undisputed champion of Islam, a warrior whose name would echo through history. Final word, the Battle of Khaybar was more than a conquest. It was a trial of faith, a test of endurance, and a proof that true victory comes not just by the sword, but by the heart. And though the forts of Khaybar now lie in ruins, the story of Ali's charge, the Prophet's wisdom, and the mercy that followed remains etched in time, a beacon for all who face impossible odds. And victory comes only from Allah, the Almighty, the All-Wise. Quran 3-126.